Hey, what is up, guys? It's Brendan here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Zoho Expense. How to use Zoho Expense, which is a free mileage tracker, expense management platform, as well as a travel management software platform for you in your small business. Now, before we dive into things, of course, I do want to mention if you are interested in checking out Zoho Expense, you don't already have an account, you can go and check out that first link down below in the description. And that will take you right over to Zoho, where you can get started with Zoho Expense. Again, some of those links in the description are affiliate links, which is a great way to help out and support the channel. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into things. So Zoho Expense is part of the overall Zoho software suite. They have a wide variety of different products and services, many of which I have mentioned and recommend on the channel here, of course. Now, Zoho Expense specifically is a travel and expense management software. So they make it simple for travel booking and expense reporting. Now, in addition to expense reporting, you can also scan receipts as well. I know a lot of you guys watching my channel are interested in maybe receipt scanning software. As you can see here, they even have a receipt for their logo. So again, Zoho Expense is great for receipt scanning, tracking expenses, as well as just an overall expense tracking software. Again, when it comes to travel as well, building out reports. And we'll be getting into the software in just a moment here, taking a look at the back end, showing you sort of what it looks like, giving you essentially a little bit of a demo here in this video today. Now, before we dive into that, I do also want to touch on pricing and that they do have a free version as well. It is limited in terms of how many users you can use. But you can do, again, the mileage expenses as well as receipt scanning. So you can do 20 receipt auto scans in terms of it going through there and automatically scanning it. You can still upload it and manually track things in here as well if you would like to. One other thing worth mentioning as well before we dive into the actual software is that Zoho Expense itself is not directly an accounting software, but they do have accounting integrations with their other focused accounting software, which is Zoho Books. So if you are interested in Zoho Books specifically, I will leave a link to that as well. Again, if you're interested in adding your expense tracking to your accounting software, again, these are two separate platforms. Again, focusing here in on Zoho Expense in this video, but I figured I would also touch on Zoho Books is another software that they do have if you do need more of an accounting software when you're looking at tracking your expenses when it comes for tax time. I get that's a little bit different. Zoho Expense primarily focuses sort of on that more travel expense as well as just general expense management when it comes to mileage, or bookings and things like that. But they do also integrate as well with QuickBooks Online or Xero. Again, those are other popular softwares I do talk a lot about here on the channel. So that's sort of like a basic overview. Again, they have that free version. They do also have paid versions with free trials. So you can get started with a free trial with them as well. So without further ado, again, let's go ahead and take a look at Zoho Expense here. And we are now in the back end of what Zoho Expense looks like. Now, they do have like a demo and a free trial. So, if you are following along with this video, feel free to check out that first link down below in the description so you can go ahead and get signed up and even, walk through here with me. They do also have like staff members and people that will do this as well. But I figured I would create this video here to give you sort of a walkthrough of what it looks like here in a video. So of course you do have trips, expenses, reports, advances, cards, approvals, analytics, as well as an admin view. So this is sort of like the My view, and we'll get into sort of like how to create an expense, sort of what that looks like as well, and sort of what the reporting looks like. They do also have an app as well that you can add, and you can upload receipts via their Chrome extension. So there's a few different options in terms of logging your expenses that you can do. We're going to be focusing primarily on more manual options in this video. But they do have other options available as well. Now, the admin view is more specific to if you plan on adding multiple users. So that's where you're managing more of like an organization's business travel and spend. So depending on, who you are watching this video, if you need the more business travel side of things, they do also have that sort of like as more of a business owner, business manager. If you're managing employees' expenses, then you do also have that available here within Zoho Expense. Or if you're just doing it for your own personal tracking purposes, you can just do that within their regular expense section, and you can just log your expenses here. So we're going to go ahead and do an expense log first, and then I'll show you the trips and sort of what the reporting looks like as well. So in here, as you can see, you have the ability to get started with expenses. So you can add in expenses, you can import them as well. You can, scan them, auto scan them as well. They also have their app, so you can use, your GPS in terms of logging your trips. So this is more important if you're using Zoho Expense for your mileage tracking needs as well, which, they do have that ability to do this within here as well. So in terms of adding an actual expense, all you have to do is come here and click like add expense. So you can go ahead and like add expense, or you can add the mileage. You can bulk add expense. You can also link cards, so corporate and personal cards. You can even add those in here too, or you can import a statement if you want to, go through and do that each month. That could be a good practice for you if you are managing a small business. In that respect, or bulk adding things as well. So we're going to go ahead and add expense first, and then I'll show you the adding mileage in a moment. So to add an expense, I guess you don't have to create a report. We're going to say the expense was today. We'll leave the merchant empty category. So this is sort of where you can track the category of the expense. This is, again, more so if you're going to be doing things that are outside of travel, sort of outside of the tracking mileage, it really makes sense to use like an accounting software in addition to an expense tracking software. But again, depending on what your needs are, you could also just use the expense software to track your expenses, to get those more detailed like logbooks and reporting on your expenses. Again, it just sort of depends on what your needs are. If you want to go for a full suite accounting software, or more the just expense management type software. So it is something worth considering. But in this case, let's just say it's meals and entertainment. And this would be then a reimbursement. So this makes sense, again, if you maybe have employees or something like that. We're going to say maybe not $120. Let's just say it's a $30 meal or something like that. And, you could go ahead and add a description. And this is where you would then go to add the receipt. So you can also auto scan receipts. Again, I am just adding it manually in this video, but that is one of the main perks, is being able to auto scan receipts. Now on the free version, they do limit you as to how many you can do on the auto scanning. So it's something worth keeping in mind. Or you could just attach the receipts yourself more manually just to keep a log. So we're going to go ahead and save that one. And then you can go ahead and, save and add a new. So you can go ahead and add another. We're going to go ahead and add another as well, just to show you sort of what it looks like. Category. Let's just say it was office supplies. We'll be getting into the other categories in just a moment. Let's just say it was $20, and we're going to save and close that. So we now have those two expenses recorded in here. And as you can see, they show up as reimbursable. You can add the receipts there. You can also go to the meals and entertainment. Again, the Zoho expense software tracks these expenses. It really makes a lot of sense if you do have employees that you want to claim reimbursements. If you just care about, scanning receipts, you might want to look at other software. But if you do want everything logged in here, and you can add your receipts in here and keep it more organized, this could be a good option for you. Again, if maybe you're still shopping around and you're not sure exactly which software you want to go with, that is something else to consider. So you have these expenses that are logged in here, right? So you can go ahead and, add these to a report as well. So you can add it to a specific report. And this is, again, more so for the whole travel management type of thing, because this is like if you're going on a business trip or something like that. And maybe you only do this maybe once a month, or you have an employee that does this once a month or something like that, or even just yourself. Then this is sort of giving you, again, more of a record for this. Again, if you are just managing yourself, you could just realistically do that within just an accounting software. Again, expense management software really makes a lot of sense when you have multiple employees, or you have staff members that you have reporting to you, and hence you need them to submit the reports for you to approve or look at and make sure that they're getting reimbursed for their expenses, and so that everything is logged and tracked for those purposes. So again, depending on your needs, that's really what this software is, again, focused on. So trip to New York, yeah, let's just call it trip to New York or NYC, and we'll just leave the rest of that blank. So we'll go ahead and save that. So now you have that report that it's been added to. And as you can see here, these are then assigned to that trip to New York report. Now you'll see it then in that report, you'll have these expenses and you can see the total amount to be reimbursed as well. So you kind of have everything a bit more organized and logged within here. Now, in terms of adding trips, if you're going to be planning out like booking a trip in terms of flights, hotels, all these types of things, as you can see, you can even create like some level of like automation in a way where you can have like approve, reject. You can also do that here, like creating a trip, submit the trip for approval, approving it, and then it will then create the expense report. And you'll be able to then upload the different documents and keep things all organized. So we can add a new trip in here. As you can see here, you can select like, the dates and everything just so that everything is, essentially tracked and logged so that you get an idea of, hey, what's going on, what are the dates, and you could really build out like an overall trip itinerary, which can help a lot, especially for business travel. If you're trying to build out, itineraries, or maybe you have somebody that takes care of this for you, that's another option in here as well. So you can also build out those trips. You can do this for domestic, international, all these types of things that you would maybe need: car rental, bus, train. You can add in train, car rental, bus, all these types of things, and you can have everything saved within a trip. So we're going to go ahead and leave that here. But if you're just doing regular expenses, you can also just submit these on a month-to-month basis too, just as overall expenses. You don't necessarily have to create like a trip out of it if you don't want to. So it's up to you, sort of the flexibility of how you want to build out your reports. So we're going to go ahead and add another expense in here. So we're going to go ahead and add a mileage expense. So as you can see here, when you go to add a mileage expense, it will automatically put the category as fuel/mileage expense. So you see that there. And you have your distance traveled. So this is where you're going to be logging that rate per mile. I just made another video on the channel going over like how to track your mileage. And again, Zoho Expense, of course, maybe you came from that video to this video to learn a little bit more about Zoho Expense. This is where you've got that IRS mileage rate where you can change the mileage rate. So right now the IRS has 67 cents a mile. Again, you can customize this to whatever mileage rate that you want to report, right, or to keep track of. So in terms of your distance traveled or the odometer reading, you can go off of either of those if you're doing things more manually. Again, in this video, I'm just doing the manual way. If you do have the mobile app, you can record your mileage expenses. Again, as they say, the easy way using GPS in the mobile app, that is sort of the simple way to do that. Again, using their mileage tracker app, which, as you can see here, you have your distance covered, and you can easily log that distance, and it will get added to your app. As you can see here on, you enter the distance. This is more like what I'm showing you here in the more manual option, but they do also have, the way to do that automatically just through tracking on your GPS. So it will work, off of mileage and using your GPS versus, entering the distance. So you do have a couple options in terms of entering it, which I do like because it gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of how you want to enter that mileage. So let's just say you did like 100 miles. So that would be $67. Pretty easy to calculate there. Again, you can edit this to whatever you want, and you can change this, rating here. Now, depending on what country you're in, it should be, according to what you put when you signed up for your account in terms of miles or kilometers and things like that. I know a lot of you guys watching this video probably are in the US, so you probably are, used to miles and things like that. So you have distance traveled or odometer reading. It's another way of calculating it. We're going to say the expense was that day. We selected a future date. Oh yeah, we can't select. We were planning to travel 100 miles in the future. Okay, so 67. cents, and we're going to go ahead and save and close that. And as you can see here, now you have your fuel and mileage expense, 67 on that mileage. And then you can go ahead and submit this report. Now, if you are an admin, and again, if you do have employees, I'll get into the admin view in just a moment here. But as you can see here, you can also log. So we have the reports. So there's your total. You have advances that you can also do. Now, this is sort of if you're going to be, cash advances for your organization and applying them to expense reports. This, you don't necessarily have to do this. This is just an option if you want to, get that cash flow out to people in advance, essentially. I mean, that's the name, right? So you do have that option. You can also link cards. So you could do corporate card, personal card, and then it will automatically be imported and converted to expenses. That's more similar to what you would expect with like an accounting software in terms of automatically importing things. So you can do things automatically or manually, like I've been showing you in this video. You do have, approved like trips that you've either, submitted for approval, pending approval. You also have your overall analytics. So you have like expenses. You can track and see like all by categories. So you can really dig into the different logs. Again, we don't have too many expenses here just in the example, but you can also view those here as well. You can also edit different settings and things like that. Of course, you can link your bank account, other information and things like that too, if you are going to be doing that. In terms of your overall admin view, so you also have, again, this is if you do have like employees working under you. This is where you can then go to trips and like approve trips or deny trips, or even submit like special, if then statements and things like that. You can also build out, as you can see here, it's like if trip options enabled, yes, okay, no, then, it'll go through the rebooking process and, someone who submits it versus the person who's an approver. You also have overall reports, so you can see reports from multiple different people. Again, even on the free version of Zoho Expense, you do have up to 3 users that you can add in here, which is pretty nice as well. You still have the advances, corporate cards. Essentially, this is all just like the admin version of what I was already showing you in the regular view, in terms of like adding things in. You can also add budgets too, which can be nice just to give you an overall estimate, an idea. This is really good for your overall like balance sheet tracking and keeping track of your business finances, is creating budgets, of course, and then sticking to those and seeing like, oh, okay, well, we spent X amount of money per month, and you can really get a good idea of your overall expenses that are logged in here. You do also have your overall business analytics, similar to what I showed you in the My View, but it is just a bit more detailed again in terms of everything that's loading. Now, of course, we only have like 2 in here, or 3 expenses. Again, you have your other settings in terms of users. You can go in and add users, integrate with other Zoho apps, or their even accounting software, things like that. So you do have a wide variety of different options here within the software. So as you can see here, we have the expenses, expense details, expense reports. Again, there's a lot of ways that you can dig into the data once you actually have everything logged in here. But that's pretty much Zoho Expense in terms of creating trips, itineraries, submitting things for approval, creating those expenses, again using your the mileage app like I was showing you, in terms of their GPS tracking, or even just entering things in manually in the app. You can also do that as well. Again, this is really a great option for business owners, or if you're looking to track expenses and then maybe import that into like an accounting software or something like that, so you can get a better view of your overall financial health within your business. Again, Zoho Expense makes sense truly as an expense management software, again, for travel and expenses, submitting reports. If you're going to be managing employees, or if you do want to track your mileage, you can also do that within here, again, using their GPS tracking tool, as well as scanning receipts. Again, you are a little bit limited in terms of scanning receipts on the free version, like I showed you here, in terms of up to 20 auto scans, but you can still go ahead and either you go with like the standard or premium paid version of the app, on that per user, or you can still do it manually in terms of, putting receipts in there. It's just not necessarily going to extract all the data and put the numbers in here for you. So that's something else worth keeping in mind. But yeah, that's pretty much Zoho Expense here. Just doing a quick overview of the software. Again, this can be a really good option for building out more detailed reports within your business. And again, it is still also within the Zoho software suite. So if you are interested in, again, any of the other Zoho software, again, maybe like their CRM or their, other tools. Again, Zoho Books is another popular one. I will leave a link to that as well in the description if you are interested, as well as checking out their accounting software. But again, that's Zoho Expense. Again, it's a great software, and I definitely recommend at least checking them out and giving them a shot, maybe comparing to other software. Again, it just depends on what your needs are as to whether it might be a good option for you. Again, links are down below in the top of the video description. Again, some of which are affiliate links, which is a great way to help out and support the channel. If you guys found this video helpful, then be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway, guys, that's all for today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.